WCRN. I'm Tracy.
I'm Stacy.
And we're reporting from Burlington, New Jersey.
Today, we're going to be talking about one of many influential women rights advocates. Her name is Ida B. Wells.
Born enslaved, Ida B. Wells fought racism and sexism in American South.
She also founded multiple organizations such as the Alpha Suffrage Club, the National Association of Colored Women, and the League of Colored Women that fought for women's rights specifically for Black women.
She even had a role in the first ever suffragette parade in Washington, D.C. in the year 1913. However, she was the only Black woman. She even had the role in the first ever suffragette parade in Washington, D.C. in the year 1913. However, she was the only Black woman in the Illinois delegation, which led to her being treated differently. She was then unfortunately told to move back at the suffragette parade march.
As a suffragist, Ida B. Wells Barnett brought attention to the connections between racism and sexism, advancing the goals of Black feminism.
She believed that winning the right to vote would allow Black women to engage in politics and help elect African Americans to positions of power.
Ida B. Wells was an amazing woman who had a large impact on women's suffrage, especially for Black women. When faced with racism and oppression, she stood up for her people and sent the constant message that progress for one specific group of people does not ensure justice for all groups.
Now, stay tuned for a chance to be selected as a call-in for the rest of our segment after a short break.
Welcome to WCRN News Report. For Wednesday the 21st, we have a high of 67 and a low of 60. Precipitation is 10% while humidity is 65%. Wind speed is 8 miles per hour and it's going to be a cloudy day. Thursday the 22nd, we have a high of 76 and a low of 61. Precipitation is 25% while humidity is 60%. We have a wind speed of 10 miles per hour and it's going to be light rain. For Friday the 23rd, we have a high of 78 and a low of 64. Precipitation is 45% while humidity is 55%. And we have a wind speed of 5 miles per hour, and we have another day of light rain. Back to you, Stacy and Tracy.
Welcome back to WCRN. If you would like to participate in our next segment, please call at 1-800-WCRN.
Looks like we got our first call-in. Caller, please state your name and question.
OMG. I cannot believe I am on here right now. My name is Sierra, and I'm Ida's biggest fan. Well, obviously we all know that Ida connected her civil reform and lynching to women's rights, particularly the right for women to be able to make their own decisions for their body. Can you further elaborate on this?
Ida B. Wells explained how lynching was only used to uphold white power and repress Black communities.
She exposed how white womanhood was used as an excuse for violence against Black men.
While the abuse of Black women by a white man was ignored,
this revealed a deep racial and gender injustice in society.
Wow. Thank you guys so much for the clarification.
No problem. Have a nice day, Sierra.
Looks like we have our next call-in. Caller, please state your name and question.
Hello, my name is Michelle Dustin, and I'm Ida B. Wells' great-great-granddaughter. You said earlier that she had a role in the first ever suffrage parade. Can you talk more about exactly what she said?
Wow, it's so nice to meet you. Ida is famous for refusing to let segregation get the best of her. When asked to march in the back of the suffrage parade, she refused and left the line.
Yes, in fact, she made it a point not to stay out of the parade. When the Illinois delegation began marching, she got out of the crowd and courageously joined her group mid-parade, marching alongside her white colleagues.
This influential move was a public protest against racism in the women's movement.
Thank you guys so much. This really helped clear things up for me.
Dang, girl! What's wrong with your lips?
What do you mean?
Did you not look in the mirror before coming out here? Your lips are drier than the Sahara Desert. You see how mine are all nice and smooth? You need some Vaseline.
Vaseline? What's that?
I'm so glad you asked.
Vaseline is a hypoallergenic 100% pure petroleum jelly product that is perfect for people with dry skin, eczema, cracked skin, sensitive skin, and people with either wounds or scars.
Oh wow, I never knew how helpful Vaseline truly is.
Exactly. Here, girl, take mine.
Wow, my lips are so smooth and soft.
What can I say? From crusty to classy.
Vaseline, only $2.99 at stores and online. Use code SMOOTH for 5% off first purchase.
Hello, everyone. I'm at Burlington Township High School interviewing people on the current issues that we face today. Hello, I'm here with.
Mr. Lee,
How are you feeling today?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Okay. What are some current issues that people face today that are important to you?
I think we have an issue with discrimination, whether it is based on race or ethnicity or gender or age or abilities. I would also say we have issues with recognizing the stigma that goes along with mental illness.
So, how do these issues make you feel?
Makes me feel frustrated because I think that they're both topics which, and this kind of gets into how to solve them, that if people learn and take the time to understand, good things can happen and can come from that.
Do you feel that this issue is recognized, or do you feel like it's just like shunned to the side?
I think both. I think there are times where people stop and go, wow, we do have a problem in this country with discrimination, or we do have a problem in this country with mental health. Um, but I also think that there's times where others just push it aside like it's not a factor, and if I don't see it and if I don't speak of it, it doesn't happen.
So, if these issues continue, how do you think it will affect us as Americans later on?
Well, I think if they're not addressed, if we're not educated on these issues, we're going to continue to have the same problems that we do now as a country. Without progress or without education, we're not going to have progress, and we're just going to remain a stagnant country, and we can't grow. And I'm a little biased because I'm a teacher, but I think education is the key to so many things, problem wise.
Yes. Well, thank you for being on our show today. Thank you. Did you like it?
I did.
Oh, thank you.
I
Okay.
thought it was very good.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Who am I here with?
Mr. Everett,
How are you feeling today?
I'm doing well.
What are current issues that people face today that are important to you?
Um, well, I don't like how our country is becoming more and more divided. Um, I think that is a problem. I also think that another issue I have is with the fact that you young people don't think for yourselves. You don't know how to critically think.
How do these issues make you feel?
Um, our country being divided bothers me. It kind of saddens me. Um, the issue about our young people not being able to critically think and using social media to think for them, and they don't use their own brains to think for themselves. That one really, really troubles me because as a teacher, I'm hoping that I give you guys the tools to use that you can go and think for yourselves and figure out things for yourselves, not depend on the internet or social media in order to think for you. So, I think that those are things that we have to kind of fix in our society.
What are ways that people could fix these issues, or if they're not known, what are ways that you can make them more known?
Um, I think that as a society, we got to start to, you know, allow one another to be different and understand and cherish and celebrate our differences. And then as far as, you young people being able to think, At some point in time, put your phones down, pick up a book, um, use ideas and see where those ideas fit in the rest of the world and how they fit you as an individual that's attempting to make the world a better place.
If these issues continue, how do you think that they will affect us as Americans later on?
Then I think that the American dream is going to die. Everybody thinks that the American dream is that, you're going to make a certain amount of money or have a house or have a spouse and all those kind of things. And it's not really what the American dream is. The American dream was a group of different individuals coming together and making a society that celebrates that individuality and makes our society, one of the better ones to live in. So if we don't critically think, if we don't, celebrate our differences and accept people for their differences, then the American dream, I think, is going to die. And we need to do things to make sure that the American dream is something that is attainable.
Well, that's nice. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
I'm so hungry, but I don't feel like having a heavy meal. Wow, what are these?
Skittles. They're colorful, chewy candies that allow you to experience different flavors. They're sweet, fun to eat, and come in rainbow colors.
I love this orange flavor.
Yup, that's Skittles. Bursting with fruity flavors. Only $1.50 sold in all stores.
Everybody loves Skittles. Feel the rainbow, taste the rainbow.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the on-field. Now we're back at the studio, interviewing a very special woman who impacted society with her kindness and hardworking attitude, Miss Obama. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today. It's an honor.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm glad to be here.
To start off, you've been such a strong advocate for health and wellness. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind your Let's Move initiative?
Absolutely. Let's Move started in 2010 as a way to address the growing issue of childhood obesity. I wanted to help families make healthier choices and ensure that kids had access to nutritious food and opportunities for physical activity at school, at home, and in their communities.
I read that Let's Move helped over 50 million students gain access to healthier school meals. That's incredible. What were some of the biggest challenges in getting the program off the ground?
One challenge was changing the perception around health. It's not just about diet, it's about building lifelong habits. We worked with schools to improve meals, push for cleaner food labels, and encourage families to get involved.
Your impact didn't stop at nutrition. Through the Obama Foundation, you've continued advocating for equality and social progress. Can you share more about that?
Certainly. One of the programs I'm very passionate about is the Girls' Opportunity Alliance. It focuses on giving adolescent girls around the world access to education. When girls are educated, they're empowered, and that empowerment lifts up entire communities.
And you supported young men through the My Brother's Keeper Alliance too, right?
Yes, that program is about building safe, supportive communities for boys and young men of color. It helps connect them with mentors and opportunities that lead to success.
You've also used your voice in powerful ways, like in your books and podcasts. What motivated you to write Becoming and launch the Light podcast?
Becoming was my way of sharing my story, the real journey with all the ups and downs. I wanted people to know that it's okay to feel uncertain or struggle with identity. And the Light podcast continues that conversation by exploring the tools we all use to stay grounded, especially during hard times.
That message of vulnerability and resilience really resonates with so many people. What do you hope young people take away from your work?
I hope they understand that their voice matters. They have power. I want them to lead with compassion, lift up others, and never doubt their worth.
Miss Obama, thank you so much for your time and wisdom. You've shown us that social change is possible when we lead with purpose.
Thank you, Amanda. Keep asking questions and keep standing up for what's right. You're already making a difference.
Who became famous for the phrase, "Catch me outside"? How about that? And later became a rapper.
Catch me outside, how about that?
Welcome back to WCRN. I'm Angelica,
I'm Deborah.
and we're reporting from Burlington, New Jersey.
Today we're going to be talking about one of the many influential civil rights movement activists, W.E.B. Du Bois.
W.E.B. Du Bois was born in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. In 1910, Du Bois accepted the directorship of the NAACP. He became the editor of the organization's monthly magazine, The Crisis. He used his position to emphasize the use of lynching, pushing for a national legislation that would forbid the extrajudicial killings. He published articles in favor of unionized labor and called out union leaders for bearing Black membership. Under his leadership, the Crisis attracted many leaders and gathered supporters for the NAACP. With Du Bois as its spokesperson, the NAACP came to be known as the leading protest organization for Black Americans.
Now stay tuned for a chance to be selected as a caller for the next part of our segment after a short break.
Were you paying attention? Who refused to comply with racism and segregation in the first ever suffragist parade at Washington, D.C.?
Welcome back to WCRN. If you would like to participate in our next segment, please call at 1-800-WCRN.
Looks like we got our first caller. Caller, please state your name and question.
Hi, my name is Emma and I'm a high school student. I'm a big fan of history, and I wanted to ask in what ways did Du Bois add his life experiences into his book, The Souls of Black Folk?
Hi Emma, that is a really great question. One of Du Bois' sons contracted a bacterial infection and died after Du Bois spent the night looking for one of 3 Black doctors in Atlanta since no white doctors would treat his son. This tragic incident resulted in an essay, The Passing of the Firstborn, to appear in The Souls of Black Folk.
Wow, thank you for providing that information.
No problem. Have a nice day, Emma.
Looks like we have our next caller. Caller, please state your name and question.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I just wanted to ask, in what ways did the Souls of Black Folk expressly differentiated Du Bois from other conservative Black voices like Booker T. Washington?
Hi, Caroline. Du Bois strongly criticized Washington's philosophy of accommodation. Du Bois claimed that Washington's strategy, rather than freeing the Black man from oppression, would serve only to prolong it.
Thank you so much for clearing that up.
No problem, Caroline. Thank you for calling in.
Well, everybody, that was it for today's Civil Rights segment.